Morning everybody, welcome back. Something a bit different for you today. This street light that I've got on my drive here, the head unit where the bulb and everything is, those little curly bars, two at the back, the bolts have rotted out, so I need to try and get that entire head unit off, get it into the soda shack and see if we can fix it. So we'll get some ladders out and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Now then, as you can see, the head unit bolts on to the actual stem here, but what's happened, these two front ones are fine, the back ones you can see daylight through them and they both snapped off. Oh, what I'm hoping is these are a form of capsulated nut, so I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to get the thread out of them and reuse them. I don't just want nut and bolts sat there, it's going to look a bit weird. So what we need to do is these bolts here, undo them. Hopefully they're just going to come straight out. Might need to get some WD-40 round here just to loosen all this off. First job, obviously I've got to get the take the bulb out, disconnect the bulb holder, because obviously the wire goes straight through the middle of all this, so I've got to get that disconnected so that when I lift it off I can thread it all the way up and not get the wire caught. All sounds simple, but we shall see how it goes. Like I said, the first job is we'll get some WD-40 on these and in here, give it a minute, and then might need a bit of heat on these bolts just to help loosen them off, but we shall see. Right, I reckon if we just give it some beans over where the threads are, and hopefully this will run down there, do its magic. See, it's already running through. Got plenty in it. Yeah, see, it's starting to run down now, so it's all seeping through, doing its stuff. So important job now, cup of coffee while that hopefully does its job, and we can start and dismantle that then. And of course, not forgetting the most important job, disconnect the power before I start giving myself a nice perm touching live wires. The way I've got this set up is we've got it set up to one of these Bluetooth sort of relay socket things, whatever they're called, so we can control and turn the light on and off via our phones whenever we want it on and off. Works well for us. So that's the power off, it's all dead. Coffee time, let that WD-40 soak in, and then we can get a bit more done. Right, you can see just in these corners the holes, that's what's left of the bolt there, and this one's totally gone. Now, like I said, we need to try and get this headset off of the centre pole and get it disconnected, and then we can start on with the bolts then. Right, I'm not sure that I can do this one-handed or whether so I've got plenty of cable. I'm not sure how. Oh, I see. That's cross-threaded in there. It's no good. No, I'll get this in bits and then I'll fetch you back and show you what I've done. Right, took a couple of pair of grips, but what happens is it comes into two halves so you can get to the cables. So that screws on there, but it had been put on cross-threaded. That's why I couldn't get it off. So that just screws onto the top there once it's all in place and nips it together. But we can now get to the screws to get the wires out and then start on the bolts then. The same again, I need two hands, so all I'm doing is undoing those two screws. That'll slide off and then we're done. I'll fetch you back when that's done. Right, that's the end off there. The wire's quite free up and down there. I might even actually put a new cable in when we're doing it down to the bottom. What I'm going to do now is just get this door off out the way so it doesn't get broken or anything. Let me see if I can get you set up inside. Right, that's the door off. We'll go and put this somewhere safe now, then we'll have a go at these bolts. Right, let's have a look. Ooh. Now that has not only surprised me, that has shocked me how easy that went. See what else we've got. Are we going to get lucky or what? Now realistically I should only have to loosen two of these, but I'm going to try and loosen all four while it's up here. This I can't believe this, because we did my neighbour's who's got a similar thing, and these were horrendous to get off. Wind them right back. Just hoping it parts from the actual post itself as good. Right. Right, I'm going to need to use two hands and some other bits and bobs. So I've got to try and get this to twist off of this now. So I might need to get some pry bars in and what have you and try and loosen it up so I can lift it all out of the way. But looking at it, because it's, I believe it's copper, so it's there's going to be a bit of weight to it once it starts coming. So we just have to see how it goes. Right, I'll see you in a minute. That's the one we did for my neighbour, and that one was horrendous to get off. We were there for, I don't know, 2 hours with blowtorch, crowbars, everything. As you've just seen, I just gave it a bit of a tap with the eyed mallet, eased it with one crowbar, and it just slid off, which is absolutely brilliant for what I wanted. So what I need to do now is, all this needs repainting, so while I've got it all in bits, it's all going to get rubbed down, repainted. It's all peeling again. All this wants cleaning off. So for the minute, all I'm going to do is get a cloth, wipe all this down, get some tape round this so the water can't get in while I'm doing the repairs. But that was at least 1,000 times easier than I ever expected it to be. So top result. Right, I'll get it cleaned up, taped up, and then that's out of the way and done. Right, I'm getting in front of myself again and not filming. Just been taking these little end caps off. Now it looks like they've been filled with some sort of a putty or something. I think the holes are too big, so they've more or less been glued on there, I think, just as fancy end caps. They're coming off just with the pliers, and then finger tight. Now then, yeah, as you can see, that's the size of the thread, which is a lot bigger than those. So I think what I'm going to do is try and actually match, if I can, that thread with the new bolts, so that they bolt on properly and do the job they're supposed to do, and not mess up like that. Now then, I'm not sure whether these little square nuts are welded onto this and they're bolted down. I'll get a spanner on here and we'll have a look, see if they'll shift. If not, then there's nothing in the top to actually get onto, so I've no idea how we're going to move that yet. I'll have to have a play about. So, right, I'll get a spanner on these and see what these do. Right, so let me get myself sorted. A bit stiff because they're covered in paint and bits of rust and all sorts. So, right, so we're on there, and so let me put you down because I need two hands here, I think. See if I can get you set up so you can still see. Now this whole thing's spinning, and I can see it spinning in the top here. So I'll put those. I'm just wondering if we can ease it out. Right, small pair of mould grips, see if we can get hold of it, and then there's not much holding it on from the inside, so I'm hoping I can just gently twist it out and sort of pull it through the bottom, if it will. There we go. As you can see, that's the only one. Looks like there was some sort of a stud that was put in there. We'll cut that off. The others are just twisting out. This one's rotted away there, so I think when I put the spanner on that, they'll just twist out and leave the holes, which is what I want. And then we've got the holes here. I just need to clean these up. I say I'm almost certain it's made of copper, so all this rust will clean off. I might even see if I can find somewhere local that'll powder coat this, and then that should be better than paint maybe. But even if not, what I'll do, I'll make sure I've got plenty of paint on here before I put it back together, and then hopefully that'll stop this rust from happening again. So right, I'll get the rest of these off, and then we'll start getting all this cleaned up and get the old paint off it and what have you. Like I said, these ones adjust when I can get out of it. Twisting out, and then they're just coming straight out, leaving us with nice holes. It's just this one, it's got a lip on it. I just need to grind that lip off and that'll fall through, and then we're down to starting to clean it all up. Right, that's all them out now. I just need to clean this out a bit, get rid of some muck out of there, and then we can maybe get wire wheel in and clean it up. We'll let it with a bit of brake cleaner first, get rid of all this WD-40 that's on there, stop it being slippy. This just degreases it all and eats away at the WD-40 that's covered everything up. There we are, that's a bit better. Right, you can see in there now, just clean that up. Got rid of some of the rust out of it. All I've done, I've used a little sanding wheel in the drill, just run it round. It's not got it all off, but it's done a reasonable job. So next one is clean these bolts up, get all the paint off the threads and make sure they're all done. Right, what I'm trying to do here, you can see all the threads are gummed up. What they've done, you can see the size of the hole there, but the bolts that were on previously were a lot smaller, so they've filled the hole with a paste and just shoved those on, hoping that they'd stay on once the paste had set, which they did. In all fairness, it worked, but I'm trying to clear that old paste out because I've bought the proper size bolts, and obviously with all that in there it won't go. So it's just a matter of two little screwdrivers, well, one screwdriver, sorry, and one little pick, and just scraping out. We've got these three done. Those three are all done and ready. These are actually brass. They don't do anything, they're just decorative. So as the bolts come through the bottom of the light, these just screw on and make it look pretty. But I'll carry on and get this one finished, and then we'll see what's next. Right, so 4 of those done, all cleaned out and ready. Just want a quick clean up and then we can paint them when it's all together. Turn our attention to this now. As you can see, where it was bolted onto the head of the light, got quite a bit of rust build up there, and this has been one of the problems. The rust has built up and rotted the bolts, so the heads come loose. As you can see with this one, I've cleaned this up. All I'm using is the angle grinder with a metal like a flappy disc on, with sandpaper, and just gently cleaning these up. Now I'm not going to film that because I don't want sparks flying at my camera and ruining the lens, so I'll get these cleaned up and then I'll fetch you back and we'll have a look and see what's next. Right, now we've got all this cleaned up, you can still see it's pitted with some rust. So what I'm trying here is, it's the first time I've used this, Hammerite Kill rust. Apparently you're supposed to paint it on, leave it for a little while, and it turns all the rust a bluey black colour, and then it's supposed to kill the rust off and help prevent it coming back through after you've painted again. Like I say, I've never used it, so I will know shortly if it's any good. I've seen a lot of other guys using this on their channels for the vans and what have you, so I'm assuming it's it does what it says on the tin, but we'll see. Getting it all over. Right, I'll get the rest done and we'll see what it looks like in a little while. Well, that seems to have worked. It's turned all the metal like a bluey black colour, and all that pitted rust is all now supposedly gone, ready for a top coat of paint. Right, so I've got a bit of drilling and what have you to do now to get this to match up. Right, just finished re-drilling these holes out. As I said before, they had the smaller bolts in and we're using new stainless steel new ones. So we drilled them out so they fit, and just using the cone cutter in the drill, just drilled through the bottom of the copper so they fit nicely. So that's all the holes resized. So I think now what I'm going to do is clean this up a bit more, get some paint on it so everything's protected around where we've cleaned up, and put the rust remedy, rust kill or whatever it is, on there. And like I say, get a couple of coats of paint on so it's all protected. Then we can start cleaning all this copper up. I've already started a little bit on the bottom here. That's just with some sandpaper. It's going to take a lot of doing, so I'm going to pop the glass out and get all these cleaned up, and once I've got it shiny, get a bit of lacquer on it. I think I'll just quickly put this back together and just tighten these bolts up. What I need to do is work out just how much thread I need to be able to put those on once I've finished. So these bolts obviously need cutting. We don't want them hanging right down there. So I don't know if you can see that, I've just marked up there a black line. That's where I need to cut. So I'm going to cut those now, and then once I've got one cut and measured, I can cut the rest to the same size, and then we can start painting this and cleaning this. Right, that's all 4 of them bolts cut down, and then they just thread back on the bottom, and that's, once that's all painted up, that's how it's all going to look. It should look more or less exactly as it did, but 10 times stronger with the proper size bolts in. I think we're going to have to leave it there for this one. This video is going to be a bit too long, so we'll do it in 2 halves. So if it's been of any use or interesting to you, give us a like and a subscribe, and if you think anybody would be interested, share it along. Right, we'll catch you in the next one.